What's up, gorgeous? Welcome to the Fierce Framework podcast, where we talk about becoming fierce through messy action, baby steps, and cultivating confidence. I'm your host, Mary Beth. I'm an ADHD kid with a dream to see more women breaking out of the box society tells us we're supposed to fit into and start living life more on our own terms. This podcast is designed to inspire you and give you practical steps to start living life aligned with your values and making regular progress towards your dreams. I believe the world benefits when you show up as your full self and you're living life lit up. So let's talk about how to do that. Hey, how you holding up? So we are in the holiday season, at least in my mind, right? We're into December. Just a couple weeks ago was Thanksgiving, Black Friday, Small Business Saturday, Cyber Monday, Giving Tuesday, all the things. Um, is anyone else like already overwhelmed? So I do want to take a second and acknowledge that it is so important to be careful about who you're letting speak into your life, who you're taking your advice from, who you're following on social media. Because one of the things that I've loved, like as I'm noticing kind of the change in seasons, right, is I'm starting to see a lot of posts and content about setting boundaries, having hard conversations with people you love, um, sending love and thoughts and good vibes out to people who are struggling during this time of year and advice for people who are not having a great time. And I love that, and I think that's so powerful, and I think it's just such a testament to the people who are out there and being able to choose like what kinds of input is on my feed, and I love that. Like, it's so kind of welcoming and thoughtful and encouraging. So I wanted to float that out there in case your feed doesn't look like mine and it's maybe you're feeling pulled in more directions, or maybe you're feeling like you've got to do more things, do it faster, spend more money, buy all the things. Like, I don't know what your feed looks like, right? But I want to take a second to remind you that you have a say in what you allow to be in front of your face all day, and you can curate, like you can choose who you follow, right? Like, be intentional about what you're liking and following, um so that you're getting, like, you're signing up for the input that aligns with your values. I'm just going to throw that out there. Okay. And so the boundaries is one of the things that I wanted to talk about today, because especially during the holidays, I feel like it's just so important. And one of the things that's been like interesting for me is my family is amazing. I love my family. They have good hearts, like they're good people. They're so sweet. Um, People make an effort to, like, my family makes an effort to come together and show up for each other during the holiday season. We celebrate Thanksgiving and Christmas together. And I'm talking like road trips, like people are traveling, people are bringing their kids to mom's house. Like, there is effort and intention going into being together for the holidays, and I think that's so beautiful in theory. um in real life it's so much, and I get so overwhelmed. So it's like I love it in my heart, and in my body I'm like freaking out. So usually when I think of boundaries and like needing to set boundaries, I think of it as like protecting yourself from someone who's hurting you or wanting to hurt you, or like a bad situation, right? I hadn't really thought about boundaries protecting me from too much of a good thing, right? It feels so wrong to be like, I need boundaries from my family when they're good people and they have the best intentions for me. But it doesn't it doesn't always, like, the impact is just a lot sometimes. And then it's like there's just so many, right? It's not any one person's faults or like actions. It's because I have a big, amazing, rowdy family and there's just so many of them. So I want to remind you that, like, you can have boundaries for yourself, period. Like they're always for you. But you can set up a boundary in a situation that's not like harmful or bad. Like it can be just overstimulating or too much of a good thing, right? For example, like you might have a boundary that is not really spoken. Maybe it's like an idea in your head, right? Where you're not going to eat all of the desserts at every holiday. Maybe you're just going to have one or two or this. And that's kind of like a healthy boundary, right? Like you're just choosing to limit how much of a good thing you're having because of these other goals you have, health goals or whatever. So, I wanted, because that reframe was powerful for me, I wanted to make sure that I shared it with you. And yeah, so you can still have boundaries even when it's not a bad, like toxic scenario. And like boundaries can be kind of tiring. Like it's hard, right? And especially if you do have a toxic, terrible scenario, like it can often be easier if it's a really bad situation to cut people off instead of having boundaries. Or if it's like things are really sensitive and hard and upsetting with the election results for a lot of people and a lot of families coming together where you don't interact every day. I mean, you don't agree on beliefs, like you don't share opinions about how people should be treated. And then you're coming together for the holidays. Like that can be so hard. And so I do want to acknowledge like that boundaries can be even harder than cutting people off. Okay. And then just the fact of like it's a practice oftentimes. And you have to set the boundary and you have to enforce the boundary. So this is like an active thing that we're doing. And so it can be tiring, and setting those boundaries and enforcing those boundaries can be hard. And so I want to reiterate and kind of move into my next point here that like you might need time to recover. A, because of everything going on, right? But then B, if you're practicing new things, if you're having difficult conversations, if you are intentionally choosing to respond the way the healed version of you would respond instead of reacting the way the old version of you would react, that is like intentional, like that takes energy. So it is absolutely normal to be tired because of all this like relational energy and intention and like just interacting with people we haven't seen in a while, all that kind of thing. Okay. I know I get super tired. Just like it's just a lot for me and it's a big change from I live alone. I hardly leave my house. I mostly exist online. Um and so like being around a ton of people and everybody's energy and the hustle and bustle and like the kids running around and having a great time, like it's amazing and it's a lot, partially just because it's an adjustment from what I'm used to. Okay. So I want to normalize this, and that's part of why I'm sharing so much about my personal life. I want to normalize, like, real life is not a fairy tale. I think we know that. So it's not going to be like the movies where everything is just magical and all of December is just so perfect and everything's sunshine and rainbows, or should I say snowflakes and tinsel, right? So, like, let's normalize it, first of all. And then also, part of normalizing, like, I want to help us let go of any of the shame and guilt that comes with like being tired during this time of year. Because I know for me, like, I struggled with that a lot of like, this is so beautiful, my family coming together. Why am I not loving this? And then like feeling bad for not appreciating it, or feeling guilty for not being able to tolerate more happiness, like more fun, more parties. Like, why is that a thing? And but being able to accept that and kind of let go of the shame and guilt around that has opened up a lot of possibilities. Um to be able to experience the holidays and interact with my family differently, and then also like enjoy the season in a way that I wasn't really able to for a while. So just acknowledging like boundaries are important, and then setting boundaries can be tiring. And just in general, with the busyness of the season, there's a lot to do. You could have a packed, especially if you have kids, right? This is the time. This is like the Super Bowl for parents, I feel like. And so there is always something you can be doing, but I want to remind you, like, you don't have to do it all. And it's so important to take time to rest and recover and pour into yourself and all those things. So that like you can be the best version of yourself, and then so that you have like the energy to show up the way that you want to be, and then also to be able to facilitate those moments for the things that like are important to you, right? If you want to do something with your kids and you want to be able to show up and enjoy it and participate instead of just being like, I'm so exhausted, like go enjoy the thing, but don't talk to me. I did this for you, like go do it. Maybe that's not the vibe you want. Do you know what I'm saying? If you do, that's fine. It's for you. Um, so being intentional about like taking that time to maybe just like sneak away, spend some time by yourself, go do something quiet. Maybe you can watch the snow fall and you sip some cocoa, or like read a book, or look at the Christmas tree lights. Whatever it is, I want to encourage you to take some time to be in peace, because that's part of the season too, right? Like it's not all joy, it's also peace. So make sure you're getting your peace in there. And I think it's just the busier we get, I think it becomes more important to be intentional. And I know for me, even though I know better, the busier I get, the more my like self-care, the filling myself up, the more those things slip. Like they're always the first to go. And I'm not proud to say that, but I'm just going to be honest with you. And so, but I also like I'm pretty confident I'm not alone, okay? So there's that. Um so because that can often be like the first thing to go, that's why I'm harping on this so much. Okay, because I just care about you and I want you to have a great season, and I want it to be I want I want you to get what you want out of this season. That's like the biggest thing. That's what all my little bullet points that I'm looking down at here. That's what this comes together for. All right, I love this topic. There's another thing that I wanted to tell you about. So, I have talked to so many of my entrepreneur friends who have expressed a yearning almost for wanting to like plan and feel like they have a strategy and a plan like going into their year. I know so many of us are just pulled in all kinds of different directions based on what our customers need, what the trends on social media are, what the latest advice is, what our families need. And sometimes it can just feel like you're being pulled in a million directions, and it can feel hard to like have a plan and a path that you're following unless you really take that time out to strategize and ask the questions of like, what do you want? Where do you want your business to go? What is your strategy? So what I'm doing is I'm facilitating a workshop for us to get together. It's local to Colorado Springs. So we can get together and plan our year together. We want to make 2025, 2020 fierce, okay? So in January, I'm facilitating this workshop where we can get together and spend a good chunk of time together. We're setting aside 4 hours to really plan out our year, build some community, find some accountability partners within the group. I'll share some tips and practices that I've picked up along the way. I'm going to bring in a guest speaker to help us with some like visualizing and dreaming of what we want this year to look like. It's going to be such a great time, and I would love to see you there. I'll include the link so that you can get more details and the link to sign up if you're interested. I would love to see you there. Whether you want to do it in a like community workshop or not, I highly recommend like taking some time at the end of 2024, the beginning of 2025 to really like Get in touch with what you want to accomplish and where you want to go this year so that you have a mission and you have a strategy and you kind of have like a North Star guiding you through your day to day. Because if you're anything like me, it is way too easy to get distracted. And then you find yourself a year later wondering, like, what did I do? So, want to make this year different, want to make sure that you have a track and a plan to follow so that you can feel really good about where you're headed and make sure that you're actually making progress towards those goals and that you have the resources you need to set yourself up for that success. And so tying into the rest and recovery, I also like want you to consider what rejuvenates you. Are there things that fill you up, that bring you peace, that bring you joy? Like, are there things during the holiday season that you actually really want to do? One of my one of my clients, she wanted to watch the Thanksgiving Day parade. That is such a it seems like such a small thing to watch the parade. And like she wanted to do that. That's something that she wanted to participate in, watching it, not be in the parade. That'd be cool though. But like every year was always something, right? It was either, she was cooking or preparing or this, that, and the other. And like there was always something else to do, or, going over to somebody's house where they're prioritizing football and instead of the parade. And so it was like always something that got in the way. But this year she decided to set that as a priority. And that's something that she wanted to do to like participate in the holidays and feel like she had something for her. And I think that's so powerful. And it's crazy like how small that is, right? So I know I love talking about like what can we stop doing? Like let's do less. Okay. Like Christmas cards, who is she? Couldn't be me. Okay. I think when I was married, I like thought about doing Christmas cards because we were cute. But no, like no, you don't have to. What if you don't like, if you want to, great. Then like how can you make it fun? How can you make it easy? All that stuff, right? And I actually have a friend who's putting on a class to like make it easier. And she actually, if I didn't have a trip coming up, I would be doing Christmas cards because she actually broke it down so well. And I was like, this is doable. I was like, maybe I could do Christmas cards, and I almost did. And then I was like, girl, you have a trip coming up. You need to get your life together. So I'm not doing that. But I love talking about like what can you set down and what can you stop doing, and I think that's so powerful, especially this time of year. I love, mm, I love opting out. I am going to a party where we're doing a gift exchange, and it's just $20, nothing big. But I hate gift exchanges because it's like inevitably you get something not conducive to a minimalist lifestyle, you know, because they don't know who it's for, right? So it's some tchotchke or like whatever, and so I just told her like, yeah, I'm so excited to come to your party. Of course, I'll bring food because I love food, but I'm just not going to participate in the gift exchange. And like she was disappointed, of course, and there will be, I'm sure, a moment at the party where it's like a little awkward because it's gonna be like, well, why isn't Mary Beth participating? And I'll just be like, I hate tchotchkes. And I should actually think of something nice to say so that that comes off smoother. Um, but like, you know, and then my friend was like, it was a little like awkward because she would prefer that everybody participate because it's just easier. And like it's a fun idea. It is fun, right? But she was super respectful about it. Like she was super cool with it. She just had to like kind of wrap her mind around it and be like, "Oh, okay. It's actually not a big deal." Just give her a chance to kind of think it through and adjust, right? And so that again, boundaries, doing less. I'm here for it. But one of the things that I've started learning is like, okay, so I've gotten pretty good at doing less during the holidays and letting things go and not participating and just kind of be like, I'm not gonna do that. My family will do like candy houses, so kind of like gingerbread houses, but we do it with graham crackers and then like, yeah. I don't do that. It's so cute. It's so fun. Um, Everybody gets together And the last couple of years, like I just haven't done that. And that's fine. I love that for me, honestly. So I feel like I've gotten to a place that I love where it's just I just do less. And coming from a woman with no kids, if I'm doing less, mama, you can do less. Like, just say no. Okay. But on the other side of that, like it's really easy to like get in the habit of like paring things down and just be like, no, 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 no. I'm not doing that. I'm not doing that. I'm not doing that. And then like it gets kind of addicting because you're like, I actually don't want to do anything now. So, you know. But balance so now I'm working on balancing that with what can I do? What do I want to do? So kind of boiling it down to like, what do you want this holiday season to look like for you? What kind of things are important to you? What do you want to experience? What moments do you want to have? What memories do you want to create? And conceptualizing those, like coming up with those ideas, verbalizing them, right? Sharing them with the people who are going to help make that happen, who need to be aware that like that needs to be accommodated in the schedule, you know, family, friends, whoever you're gathering with, like whoever needs to be aware that these are priorities for you, and then making it happen. Dude, so powerful, right? Like I would love to have like a quieter night with a few of my siblings where we are like watching some cheesy Christmas movie. Okay, because it's like when it's a smaller group, it's more conducive to conversation and a little bit deeper conversation. And I love that, of course, because I'm an introvert, right? And kind of the community where we're like all focused on something, and then the movie turns off, and you're all like gathered around the couch quietly, and you're like, and then deep conversations always happen from there. If you didn't know that, pro tip. So stuff like that, like I love that. That brings me joy. So I want to be intentional about making sure that happens, right? And either, you know, inviting people to my home or partnering with one of my siblings, like whatever. But taking a minute to acknowledge, like switching my mindset from like, what can I not do to, okay, great. Now that I have capacity, now that I have this amazing potential because I stripped away the things I didn't want, I now have space to make sure I can prioritize the things that I do want to do. And that's like the reason for making space so that you can do the things you want to do, not just so you can not do anything. That's actually not the goal. It might be until you get out of burnout, depending on where you're at with your life. But it's like the goal is to make room for the things that you want, that you love, that light you up, that make you feel alive, right? That bring you that joy. And like during this time of year, there's a smorgasbord of things that you can choose from, dude. Like, you know, you want to go ice skating in the park downtown? Like, do it. You want to have, you know, a quiet movie night? Do it. Like, simple things. Letting myself enjoy Hallmark movies was like a thing for me. Because for the longest time, I wrote them off as stupid because of internalized misogyny. And I was like, that's dumb. They're all the same, like, whatever. And I was like, too good for Hallmark movies. And now I'm just like, they're supposed to be the same. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. I'm here for it. I've already watched like a million. Don't come for me. Um, but like getting into that space where you can really ask yourself, what do you want? What experiences do you want to have? For example, like I hate decorating because I'm like for holidays because you put the decorations up and you have to take them down, so you could just not do it. Like that's my mindset. Okay, I know. And the Grinch. Don't worry, I don't have kids. Um, but like right, so that's my thought process most of the time. But then taking a step back and be like, are you gonna feel a little warm and fuzzies when you have like the Christmas tree lights on when you're watching your cheesy Hallmark movie? Are you? Yes, yes, you are. Put the tree up. What things are going to enhance your experience this season? How can you set yourself up for the most potential to create the memories you want to create, to have those special moments with the people you love? Like, what do you want to be doing? What do you want to be doing with them? What do you want to do for yourself? Right? Like, I hate the cold, and unfortunately, it only snows when it's cold. So, by association, I kind of hate the snow, even though I don't have beef with snow specifically. But there is something magical about like walking downtown when it's snowing, like shopping or getting coffee, which again is weird because I only shop online like 99% of the time. But like, there's something just like magical about those moments. So my point of all these anecdotes is to encourage you to take that time and figure out like what do you want and how can you make that happen? Okay? If it's baking cookies, if it's sipping hot cocoa or mulled wine or watching a classic movie, Die Hard is a Christmas movie, so for the record. Oh, just whatever. Yeah, I'm always going to encourage you to do what you want. So there's that. But I think especially this time of year because there's so much pulling on us and there's so much input on like what we could be doing and what we should be doing and expectations of like what the holiday season is supposed to look like. There are so many boxes to check and there are so many roles that you could just fall into and it you could coast through the entire holiday season only doing what other people expect of you or tell you to do. You could go all of December never doing anything for yourself. I'm convinced because there's just so many options for with everybody else telling us what we should be doing. So that's why I'm harping on this so much because I think especially during this time of year, it's more important to take that step back and take a minute for yourself. A, rest and recover, right? What's going to refill your cup? What boundaries do you need to protect kind of who you want to be and to allow yourself to keep operating from the healed version of you, right? So you don't get overwhelmed and kind of collapse back into the unhealed version of you. Because, like, loved her. She did her best, but like, she's not who I want to be. So if I can have like more boundaries and capacity and space to like keep operating from the healed version of me, like I want to choose her. Okay. And that takes capacity and space and being rested oftentimes. So that I want to encourage you to allow that to be a priority, especially this time of year when it's so hard to do that. And then beyond just rest and taking care of yourself and pouring into yourself, how can you take that a step further and make this season magical for you? Whatever that means for you. What does that mean for you? What do you want it to look like? What experiences do you want to have? And how can you make that happen? Maybe that's letting go of an old tradition so that you can start a new tradition. And that's great, right? Like it's all about the intentionality and kind of the world that you're creating for you and your loved ones. That's all I got. I hope you have a lovely holiday season, whichever holidays you celebrate. I hope that your days are full of people who love you and that you love and people who take care of you, including you. You should be taking care of you. And my heart goes out to any of us who are dealing with celebrating the holidays and grieving a loss. Um, because that's a whole nother layer that we didn't get into. And yeah, until next time, keep becoming fierce. You're doing great.